We're going to look at the labs in J, which give an introduction to J. And the way we access those is to go to the menu there, and in the Studio menu, we select the labs. Before we do that, notice that right below the labs alternative is the advance. That's telling you this. We can go back here when we want to advance between lessons, or alternatively we can strike a keystroke. In my case, it's the Command J there. It may be different on your computer, but let's select the labs alternative there, and you can see that there's a large variety of labs available. The first 5 here are the ones that I think you might be most interested in. The second one is my favorite, and you may want to come back to it. It's a little bit more general and touches on things quite lightly, but a lot more variety quite quickly. This idiosyncratic introduction to J is a lot like the one we're going to look at, but a little bit more quickly paced. And finally, this introductory course in J is a much more thorough coverage and is useful to more advanced people who have already learned a programming language. But let's start with this J introduction. Now you can see that the lab is taking up a little bit more space than I've allocated on my page, so I'm going to have to cursor up here to show you the top. You can see that we're in Chapter 1, and this line signals that we are in Chapter 1, Lesson 1 of 16. And we read here that there are 14 chapters in this lab. And here we read that we're going to be doing experiments, and it encourages you to do your own experiments. Well, here we see we're using J as a calculator, sort of, and an example input is indented there, three spaces, 2 plus 3. And the output here, the 5, is not indented. And here we have another line where we assign the value 2 to the variable x. And here we assign the value 3 to the variable y. And here we add the two together, and the result is 5. Well, let's actually add x plus 5 ourselves. A good way to do that is return the cursor to that line and hit return one time, and that duplicates that line. And now in the spirit of experimentation, let's change that plus sign to a minus sign, and now hit return again, and we see we get the result -1. All right, now we want to go to the next lesson, and so we could go up to the menu, but instead I'm going to just hit Command J, and you can see we get another lesson. Here is an example that we already saw before, and here's the minus example we did ourselves, and here's times, and here's divided by. J uses the % sign for divided by. This is the exponentiation symbol, and there's a logarithm symbol down here too. You can explore them more on your own. The last thing I want to do is show you how to return to the Studio menu and to see how other chapters are accessible. If you go to that alternative, you can see that this particular lab has several chapters, and we're only at the first one. All right, that's all for now. I hope you get one of these introductions yourself, or more than one.